Hi everyone, welcome back to If My Heart Had Wings, Flight Diary, Akari's Route, Episode 8. So, Aoi and Akari went on a date to the lakeside, so it's quiet and not as busy as Wendy's. And Aoi got to see Akari in some swimwear that was selected by Kanako. So Kanako obviously would give something suggestive, basically something that will entice or tease Aoi. So they did play in the water, and Aoi can see that. So even though at school, Akari is this uptight, strict person as the president of the student council on the inside. So when she's not at school or working, she's quite shy and inconfident with her choices. So now that Aoi and Akari are in a relationship, it seems that Akari is applying some bias. So she helped get approval for the faculty for the Soaring Club. And now let's see how the other members react. So, I mean Kotori, Ageha, and the twins. So, for Ageha, she's like,
何これどういうこと
So, what's going on here? Ageha is staring into space, a dazed look on her face. And the rest of us are doing pretty much the same thing. And when we got to the runway that morning to perform a test flight, the winch is not there. Why? Kotori had got there first and is able to tell us something about the situation.
さっき電話で確認したら撤去したって飛岡たちが
So it's not good news. So it looks like Tobioka once again is trying to sabotage or prevent the Soaring Club from becoming successful. Like what happened in the original If My Heart Had Wings.
持ってかれちゃったんですか
Kotori nods. According to the owner of the place, the winch had been gone since yesterday. And Tobioka-sensei had come to collect it personally. And under the pretext of it not working properly, that is. So, such a poorly maintained piece of equipment represents danger to our students, he would say. And there's nothing they could do but hand it over to him.
さっき飛岡にも電話したのよ直接そしたら取り上げるわけじゃないこちらで整備し直したらちゃんと返してやるだそうよ
Is that true? So will he have it repaired for the club?
それっていつどのくらいかかるの来月の中頃になるだろうって言ってたわ
So apparently the equipment is so old and it's probably going to fall apart. So it needs major refurbishment.
それって
But that means that
モーニンググローリーを飛ぶの邪魔しようとしてるんでしょうね
so once again he's looking for some way to destroy their ultimate goal. Yoro is appalled. She's right though, so why else would he choose now to do this? And at any other time, seizing our equipment would be annoying, but not as disastrous as it is now. And how did he even know we knew one of the clouds is coming? Wait, no. So it couldn't be.
おはようございます
So did Akari tell Tobioka-sensei? At the moment, Akari arrives, and she said that she'll be here today to observe our flight. And when she saw how gloomy everyone is, she pulls up short.
何かあったの？
So what's wrong?
ウィンチが撤去されたの。飛岡たちに持っていかれちゃったのよ。
And after taking a second or two to fully grasp the news, Akari goes pale.
まさかそんな。来月の中頃までは帰ってこないそうです。それも怪しいわね。なんだかんだ理由をつけて引き延ばすんじゃないかしら。それって。ええ、私たちは飛べないわ。たとえモーニンググローリーが現れても。
So there's no way we'll be able to get up to the morning glory. And with that realization, despair settles over us. So even though it seems that Tobioka-sensei is acting in good faith, so making sure all the equipment is safe, it seems like he's also finding his new or next attempt to prevent the Soaring Club from going up to the morning glory. So we've seen from the other routes how he tries to sabotage their progress. And you can go watch those routes to see how it went. So Tobioka-sensei is not rattled in the slightest by me calling him out in the hallway. I'm furious that he could stay so calm. So it's more like, well, I'm sure this is going to ensure that my sabotage is successful, so there's no way the Soaring Club will be able to continue to fly.
とぼけないでください。ソアリング部の件です。
Yeah, and?
それならハバネに直接伝えた。あんな整備不良のウィンチでは危なすぎる。
ですが、
一時的なものだ。こちらで信頼できる業者に頼んでメンテナンスをしてもらったらすぐに返してやる。
Well, don't worry.
どうして今なんですか？これじゃまるで。
モーニンググローリーだったか？あんな壊れかけのウィンチでそんな危険なフライトさせられるはずないだろう。
ではやはりそれを妨害するためにあえて今募集なさったのですね。
言葉が過ぎるぞ、雲井。
いいえ、言わせていただきます。飛岡先生のやり方は卑怯です。とても教師のやることとは思えません。
And I let my emotions take over and rip into him. And usually, I never go this far, but I had no doubt in my mind as to who is in the wrong. But then, it also kind of feels that, or she showed her bias, the fact that she's willing to stand up and defend the Soaring Club. And we know that Tobioka-sensei also runs a club himself, so the Robotics Club. And he does mention that, well, my club is better, it's safer, there's more achievements, and the fact that there's activity going on and more members. But Tobioka-sensei stays maddeningly calm throughout my tirade, as if he's been expecting this from the start.
そういうお前はどうなんだ?
Okay, there you go. So, as the president of the student council, it is quite strange that you will react this way.
聞くところによると、水瀬とずいぶん仲がいいそうじゃないか。
Uh-oh. And I felt a spike of anger rise up in me. I'm starting to feel a little dizzy. And now my shyness about romance is mixing in with my anger.
個人的な付き合いにとやかく言うつもりはない。だが、そのために生徒会長という立場を利用するのは倫理的にいかがなものかと私は思う。
There you go. So you're being biased in favor of the Soaring Club just because you are going out with one of the members.
それこそ卑怯というものじゃないか?
And I'm sure at this point it's like, well, maybe we should recall you and find a new president who's more fair and impartial. At some point, I started grinding my teeth. I never given special treatment to Aoi just because he's my boyfriend. Well, it's hard to tell. But I could see that it's probably looking like that way from an outside perspective. Or what if I had been favoring him without realizing it? And now he had me doubting my own sense at self-control. So thinking back to all the little screw-ups I made in the past couple of weeks, could I really be so sure of myself?
警告しておくぞ。今後生徒会としてソアリング部、いや、同好会だったな。あいつらと関わるな。
Wait, so why is he calling it the X Club?
もし何らかの関わり合いを持てば、処分の対象となる可能性もある。
処分？
優等生のお前には縁のない言葉だろう。将来にだって傷がつきかねえ。
Well, how does he know?
今まで努力して積み上げてきたものをもっと大事にしろ。
I couldn't reply, not when my confidence in myself had been shaken so badly. And then Tobioka-sensei walks away wearing a self-satisfied grin. So I wonder what's going to happen when the Soaring Club finds some other way to get the glider off the ground. So after a few steps, he pauses.
そうそう。あいつらにも言っておけ。もしそれでも無茶をするようなら、処罰の対象にするとな。
So I think once again he's going to find some way to shut the Soaring Club down.
でも彼らは
同好会の活動範囲を超えている。
So I can find more violations of the club.
2学期になれば部活動復帰を認めてくださる約束では。
ああ、そのことなら覚えている。ちゃんと2学期になれば再度職員会議にかけて審議してやる。
So I can once again close the Soaring Club.
そんな、それじゃ約束が。
問題児の仲間入りしたくなければくれぐれも注意するんだな。
And with that final snide remark, he left. Oh, so he left for real this time. So, despite Tobioka-sensei talking about, well, these people are bad, I don't think his club is better either. So, the fact that he kind of pushed away or made it discouraging for Amane and Ageha to stay in the club. I sat down in the empty student council room and let my head rest against my desk.
約束が違う。
So he lied. He said they'll be restored by the second semester. That had been the deal we've made. And now suddenly it's only open for discussion at a meeting partway into the semester. And he's probably bringing up the allegedly poorly maintained witch as a reason to deny the motion too. Well, I'm sure that's not convincing, but he's hoping that he's going to demoralize the Soaring Club so that, oh, we failed to go to the morning glory, so there's no point of keeping this club open any longer, and we'll close it.
私のせいだ。
And I trusted Tobioka-sensei, and he used me to crush the Soaring Club. So now it's like, well, I also see that you're favoring the club, a bad club, and I can ask you to resign from the student council, or even expel you. And this is not the worst of it.
飛び若先生がモーニンググローリーを飛ぶことを妨害しようとしているのは間違いない。それも私のせい。
And I'm the one who told him about this. And taking away equipment for maintenance sounded perfectly reasonable on paper, but it could not be true. So Soaring Club checked the winch for problems personally every time they used it. But I'm sure it's like, well, these people aren't certified, so they're not looking at everything that's wrong. So I'm going to bring it to a person with more credentials and experience. And Amane and Tatsuya had given it their stamp of approval too. But once again, they're not experts. And it's inconceivable for it to be on the verge of falling apart, like what Tobioka-sensei claimed. And how could he do this?
もう飛べない。私のせいでみんなの夢が。
And they are going to hate me for this. And I thought back to how happy and excited they were when they heard Amane's prediction and felt a stabbing palm in my chest, or pain. In all the trials they've been through, all the obstacles they overcome together. And a careless mistake on my part had reminded or rendered all the effort a waste of time. And then my cell phone starts to ring. So who is it? Oh, so it's Aoi calling. And it's not the first time he called me today. He sent me some texts too, but I could not bear to open them.
葵くん、会いたいよ。
And it felt like my heart is about to break. I want him to take me by the hand and tell me everything would be alright. Or if that is no good, I want to at least feel or hear his answer or voice. But I did not observe that kind of comfort. Not after what I'd done. How could I even look at him in the eye as things are now? And contact by phone is out of the question too. All I wanted to do is to enjoy being in love for the very first time. Okay, and for Aoi, let's see how he responds to Akari not picking up. I hang up and shove my phone back into my pocket.
生徒会長とまだ連絡つかないの？
Oh, so it's more like Kotori's asking Aoi to call Akari. Nope. I hadn't been able to contact Akari since the day the winch went missing. And when she heard the news, she gone pale and left right away. And she probably felt responsible for the mess.
心配ね。
Well, me too, but we've got other problems to deal with. So what now?
絶対絶命って感じよね。いつモーニンググローリーが来てもおかしくないって時に。
So we've been looking into using alternative launch methods now that the winch is out of action. And our prospects aren't great. So Tobioka-sensei had gone behind our backs to any facilities or sites that we could have used and told them not to help us. So he went even further. It's like, okay, if you see these people, anything about the Soaring Club, the glider, do not offer them service. So this is on behalf of the faculty and school, because of safety. And even if he hadn't, the Morning Glory could form any day now and we never be ready for it. So we need to have the glider standing by to take off from the runway, and that is just not going to happen the way things are right now. And it's like the whole world is against us. So sitting around and moping isn't going to help, so let's not, or just do whatever we can.
そうね。
So I'm doing my best to put on a brave face, and there's no denying a dark cloud had settled over us.
おかしいわね。誰もいないのかしら。
Okay, so what's happening now? And ring the doorbell, but there's no answer. It's strange. Usually Kanako would be here even if Aoi and the others are not.
格納庫へ行ってみるしかないわね。
So maybe the hangar or the dock. And my own voice is so listless, even I found it depressing. It had poured into rain or with rain yesterday, but today is a typical warm summer day. I made up my mind to go see Aoi and face the music. And come what may, I had to give them a proper apology. And not that I expected them to forgive me. If I just explained what happened and said I'm sorry, well, I still had to take responsibility. And my knees are trembling with fear, but I kept walking all the same. And with every step, my heart felt a little heavier. So what kind of terrible thing would they say to me? So they might be angry that I made all this happen. And as the student council president, I had to deal with complaints from unsatisfied students in the past. And that had been hard enough, but this one is worse. So they kind of trusted me at first. And these people are my friends, there you go, and they had the power to hurt me much more than anyone else. So I know them personally now. And what would Aoi-kun say? And knowing him, he might try to defend me. But there's no way he would feel the same about me and probably never want to see me again.
短い初恋だったわね。
Well, I guess this is it. I smiled. I really is or am ridiculous. And even if he broke up with me, I know I would not stop feeling the way I did about Aoi-kun. So love is not an emotion you could just turn off at a moment's notice. I have to suffer through the second semester and beyond nursing a broken heart, and it is a fitting punishment. And why had I ever trusted Tobioka-sensei? And what am I hoping to achieve by getting him to officially recognize the Soaring Club?
みんなが望んでいたことは、ただモーニンググローリーを飛ぶこと。それだけだったのに。
So I think I had some kind of inferiority complex towards Habane-san. And Habane-san, who had the courage to step forward and join the club when I couldn't. And I want to be more like her. So be more brave and willing to do anything despite it being impossible. To find a way to support everyone and be part of their dream. Okay? But somewhere along the way, that desire had gotten twisted out of shape. Instead, I just been trying to show off. So I'm Aoi's girlfriend, or Aoi-kun's girlfriend, and they accepted me as one of their own, and I gotten carried away.
本当バカみたい。
I never felt so miserable all my life. On the way to the secret base, I found myself stopping. So maybe I should go to the runway first, I thought. So going to the base meant taking a detour around the lake, and the runway is much closer.
ウィンチがないのに滑走路にいるはずないか。
So right now it's just an empty field, so there's no point of going there. I set off towards the lake. And part of me wanted to go see the runway empty and deserted, to further torture myself by seeing the consequences of my actions with my own eyes. Okay, so here's the runway, so it's right by the edge of the lake. I stood on the shore and surveyed the wide, desolate stretch of land before me. A field of green with one brown strip down the middle, and it had been worn down by the glider taking off from that point many times. And I followed the line of the runway and saw something white. Wait. A bird? Or maybe... Wait, so a glider? I skid down the embankment and dashed towards the runway.
グライダーが飛んでる。
Wait, so that's impossible. So how can the glider fly without the winch? Oh, so it only looked that way for a second though. So a moment later, the glider came back down to Earth. So it was some kind of illusion. But it might had been off the ground just now, that much I'm sure of.
あれは一体。
いい感じだったんじゃない？
So I think they're trying other ways to take off. Aya opens the canopy for me. Okay, so it felt so light and floaty, it's hard to tell how far I'm going, and how did it look to you guys from the outside?
結構しっかり浮いてたわよ。ね。
Well, it's good.
ちゃんと飛んでました。あれだけ苦労して飛行距離わずか数メートルだけどね。いやでも十分よ。まずは離陸できるかどうかだもん。
Okay, so I wonder what kind of method they're trying. So what's the alternative launch method?
そうそう。ねえ、あんなのでいいの？
全然飛んでねえじゃねえか。期待してたのによ。
So it's or has very little effect. So it did fly, but not by much.
ほんのちょびっとだったね。でもこんな方法で飛べるなんてすごいよ。
So I'm sure if you fix it or refine this method, it might work better.
綱引きみたいで楽しかったし。
Well, thanks for the help, so Hotaru and Mabo.
アゲハが泣いて頼むからしょうがなく来てやったんだ。お前のためじゃねえよ。
あんたデタラメ言うと昔みたいにデコピンして泣かすわよ。私は青兄たちのお手伝いができて嬉しいよ。でもあんなちょっぴりでいいの？
そうだぜ。あんなの飛んだうちに入らねえだろ。
So as long as we can get ourselves off the ground, we can work something out. So we'll use the currents and the wind and the gusts to help us stay airborne. So on the runway is Kanako, Masasugu, Hotaru, and a whole crowd of other people, maybe 30 in total. And they all come here today to help us practice taking off.
葵くん、操縦の方はどうなの？
So anyways, how did it go for the controls, Aoi-kun? So we didn't get any real airspeed, so the rudder didn't work, and I had my hands full just keeping it stable. And the lack of height made it feel like I'm touching down again as soon as I straighten it out. But it will do the job.
そうね、今はそれだけできれば。
Well, I guess this is how it'll go. And the entire crowd turns to look in the direction of Kotori's voice.
あかりさん
So Akari is here. Akari is standing there looking like she might turn tail and run any minute. And I jump out of the cockpit and walk over to her. So, wait, Akari, are you okay? So I've been trying to call you for days and I'm worried.
ごめんなさい。
Well, I'm sorry. And she looks down at her feet and it seems like she might never raise her head up to look anyone in the eyes again. But when she spoke, her voice is loud and clear so everyone could hear it.
皆さん、ごめんなさい。私のせいで大変な迷惑をかけてしまって。
I could see tears starting to fill her eyes.
少しでもソアリング部の役に立てればと思ったの。あなたたちのやっていることは非難されるようなことじゃないと思ったから。でもそれは私のエゴだわ。私が公正でありたい、公正であってほしい、そう思っていただけのことで、そのせいであなたたちの夢を壊してしまうことになってしまった。本当にごめんなさい。
And Akari bows her head towards the other members of the club. And we wait for a while to let her calm down. Aya puts her hand on Kotori's shoulder. And then she looks at me and Asa and Yoru and nodded.
気にする必要ないって。
So don't worry about it.
だって私たちのためにしてくれたことなんでしょ？
So you were helping us, and that's what counts. Akari's head jerks up in surprise. Maybe she'd been expecting something more akin to a shower of abuse.
私たちはね、いつだってベストを尽くすの。
So we'll do our best with whatever we have right now.
それでダメだったら諦めがつくでしょ？だってそれがベストなんだから。
And Kotori puts what we are all feeling into words.
あなたはどうなの？
So what about you?
私は
So weren't you just doing the best you could? Same as us? And I think we got through to her. And then Kotori smiles approvingly.
なら問題なし。
So see, nothing wrong.
むしろお礼を言うわ。私たちのために無理をしてくれてありがとう、あかりさん。
So Akari could only sniffle and reply. And she's doing all she could to hold back from bursting into tears. And besides, we are not done chasing our dream just yet. And I held my arm out to indicate all the people who come together here today. And Akari says nothing. I guess we owe her an explanation.
離陸方法はウインチだけじゃありませんから。
So Agaha points to the rope laid across the length of the runway. Okay, so I'm sure we know what this is.
あのゴム柵を使って飛ぶんです。
ゴム柵。
あのロープはゴムの束を合わせたものなんです。あれでこうグイーピョーンって。
Okay, let's see what Asa said earlier.
あのロープはゴムの束を合わせたものなんです。あれでグライダーを引っ張って飛ばすんです。
Okay. Asa mimics the process, brimming over with enthusiasm. Akari still look unsure of whether or not to believe this. I didn't blame her. I had my doubts about it at first too. And the technical term for this is appropriately enough, so a bungee launch. And like Asa said, it involved pulling the cord, taut against the middle of the glider and then releasing the tension to take off. And we found the bungee cord in a lonely corner of the storeroom. And I felt like we were grasping straws, but after a little research, it sounds like it might actually be worth a try.
そんなやり方で本当に飛べるの？今もたった数メートルくらいしか飛んでなかったじゃない。
So we could help but grin when we heard her once or voice the same doubts we all had to begin with.
秘策があるのよ。
So we went on to explain our secret plan with the rest of the team of supervillains revealing an evil sheen.
あの丘から？
そう、大変そうだけど、むしろウィンチでここから上がるよりフライトプランとしては合理的だってことが分かったのよ。ね？
ええ、計算上は。
So, as usual, Yoru refuses to get caught up in the mood. And the calculations she mentioned might be run through by her and Amane earlier. And some really advanced stuff the rest of us had no chance at keeping up with, but they seem happy enough with the results. So, as a pilot, all I need to concern myself is following the flight path. So I'll turn to Akari to see how she would react.
なんて人たちなの。
And these are several ways you could take the remark, of course. But the important thing is that even with our winch gone, we still had our fighting spirit and we had found a way to bounce back. Okay, so the night.
よかったですね、葵先輩。あかりさんが元気になってくれて。
So at least she's feeling better. Well, sorry to make all of you worry about her though.
あの人は何も悪いことはしてないし、どう考えてもおかしいのは飛岡とかいう教師。
Well, it was to teach that Tobioka-sensei lesson, so he tricked us.
とはいえ、これからは慎重に動いた方が良さそうですね。まあ、私には関係ないけど。
今さら何言ってるのよ。もうどっぷりと関わってるくせして。時々憎たらしいけど、あんたも私たちの仲間よ。
But, you know, you're working with us, so you have a part in this.
私は姉さんの付き添いですから。
Really?
いいよ。 別に付き添ってくれなくても。
So if it's for me, then you don't have to come then. So I'm okay being alone.
朝の面倒なら私たち先輩がちゃんと見ててあげるわ。
それが心配なんです。鳥先輩たちの危険思想に姉さんが染まってしまわないか。
なんですって？
Okay, girls, so just be cool, so no fighting. It had only been about a month since the Kazata sisters joined us, but they are already an integral part of our team. And that friendly banter they had going on with Kotori, when did they all get so close?
でもよかったのかしら。
So about what?
あかりさんの申し出よ。
Wait, right, okay. And she brought it up on our way back from practicing the bungee launch.
ちょっといいかしら。
何？
私にあなたたちの手伝いをさせてほしいの。あなたたちがフライトに集中できるよう、それ以外のお膳立ての部分を私にやらせてちょうだい。
So, what do you need me for? So, how can I help you? Kotori looks to the rest of us for our opinions. And it's possible we are feeling cautious after the last setback we suffered.
それはゴム柵を引く人集めやその他に必要なものを揃えたりしてくれるってことでしょうか。
Okay?
ええ、そうよ。生徒会役員を長くやってきたからその手の仕事には慣れているの。
Sure, so I can offer that kind of help. So, bring people to help with the launch. We stopped to consider her offer. So we are using the bare minimum right now, so every little bit extra would help. Akari is dead serious. I could see it in her eyes. But it's not the kind of desperation to make up for her mistakes that I've seen before. She is calm and focused. So now, with a focused mind, she can figure something out to resolve this big setback.
いいわ。お願い。
So, please help us.
ありがとう、ハバネさん。生徒会長として全面的にバックアップさせてもらうわ。
またヘマするかもって考えてるんですか？
いいえ、それはないと思う。あの人は二度と同じ失敗をしないと思うわ。
Well, then again, it wasn't technically her fault. So she got tricked and she...
じゃあ何か他に心配事でも。
So what's the problem then?
あの人も今回のことでトビオカたちから睨まれたんじゃないかと思う。
So, as expected, I'm sure Tobioka-sensei is going to find out what's happening and he's going to find another attempt to prevent this from happening. So, a last-minute desperation to stop the launch for the Morning Glory. Yes, probably. So, her standing with the teachers would take a hit, and there's no doubt about this.
それなのにあの人あんなこと。
So, as the president of the student council, I'll back you up every way I can. She said something similar before, but the nuisance or the nuance had been different. And it's still a bold claim, but this time it feels like she is not leaning on her position of authority so much. And that is very like her somehow.
わからないけど、そこまでバカな人には見えないわ。
そうなのよね。
And Kotori nods.
きっと考えがあるのよ。それか失いたくない何かが。
So something she did not want to lose. So maybe a feeling that's vague and hard to put down, but important nonetheless. I could relate. It's a feeling like that kept us coming back for flight after flight. So was it the same for Akari? And just then, I heard sounds of a conversation coming from the hallway. Oh, so Akari's here. So a moment later, Kanako and Akari walk into the dining hall.
お風呂開いたよ
Okay, so the bath is open.
いやー、いいお湯だったわねえ、あかりん。
ええ、そうね。ありがとう、葵くん。お風呂貸してもらって。
So no problem. So we always get tons of people using it anyways. Wait, so that sounds wrong. And I think we both know what we should change the subject, but neither of us had any ideas, so instead, there's only silence. And Akari seems at ease, or ill. If I had to guess, I say she's feeling bad about her radio silence over the past few days. So, I kind of feel bad that I didn't answer you and I kind of went silent and it got all of you worried about me. And that didn't matter much to me, but I'm just happy we are talking again. And she sure smells good straight out of the bath too. Well, I'm sure that's not a comment to make. So her fragrance is tightly thickens my nose as she walks past. Well, I know she would not thank me for saying so at a time like this, but being near her is really getting me excited.
いやー、いいもん見たわ。あかりちゃんってスタイルいいのよ。
あなたに言われても嫌味なだけだわ。
どうして？ウエストとか細くて羨ましいって思ったんだけど。
だって私じゃ胸が。
Wait, so she places her hands over her chest for a couple of seconds and then gasps in surprise. So I chose that swimwear for you because I wanted it to accentuate your physical appearance. Wait, so why are you glaring at me? And what had I done now?
それはね、さっきから幸せそうな顔してあかりちゃんの湯上がりの香りをくんかくんかしてたからじゃないかな。
Hey, do you have to announce it for the whole world to hear? So you didn't have to bring it up.
嗅いでたんだ。
But it is kind of true though. Well, so I just happened to notice that you smell good. So Akari's face goes red and she begins to fidget, not knowing what else to do.
バカバカしい。
And not a pleasant response from the others.
私たちもお風呂行こっか。
Okay, so I'll just leave it at that and we'll just go to the bath and forget about all this.
そうですね。
So Kotori and the others, so Asa and Yoru, made a hurried exit from the dining hall, watching me suspiciously as they went. Hey, so don't look at me like that, you girls. It's not often that Akari would be at the Flying Fish Manor this late in the day. And she's not here for a sleepover in her capacity as Kanako's friend. And nor she's here to spend some quality time with me as my girlfriend, although that is a nice addition. No, so she's here as a friend of the Soaring Club to help with our all-night vigil. And we've all been taking our turns watching the pre-dawn sky for signs of the morning glory. And the way the shift rotations work out, tonight is my turn. And when she heard that Akari said she wanted to join me, and I saw no reason to turn her down. So she made up with me the club as a whole, but she and I hadn't really talked about the situation on our own yet. And no better than to ask her to overcome her shyness and talk about her honest feelings in front of many people. Instead, I waited knowing she would come to talk to me about it when she felt ready. And maybe she chose to stay up with me tonight to give herself that opportunity.
あかりちゃん、この後どうする？葵くんの部屋に行く？
葵くんの部屋？
Wait, his room? And you can, if you like, just give me a minute to tidy up a little.
そんなのダメよ。だって男の子の部屋なんだ。
Wait, so that's too sudden. So you're asking me to sleep in his room? And I could have seen the reaction coming.
じゃあさ、私の部屋で健全にトランプでもやろっか。ついでに夏休みの課題手伝ってよ。
So there are many interesting things you can do. So play games or help people with homework.
ええ、わかりました。あなたが夏休みの課題に集中できるよう、横で監視すればいいんですね。
Okay then, so how about I go to your room and make sure you're studying properly?
急に生徒会長モードに。あかりちゃんが優しくない。
Well, then again, Kanako gave Akari the idea, so I think for Akari's sake, well, this is better for me, so I'll do that, or I'll choose this.
厳しさも優しさのうちです。それじゃあ、行きましょうか。
Okay, so I'm going to your room.
というわけだから、おやすみ、葵くん。
Okay, good night, Kanako. See you later, Akari. Okay. And the two girls shuffle off towards Kanako's room. And I better get going, so get some shut-eye. I'm going to have to be up before 4 a.m. To have any chance at a decent night's sleep, I have to go to bed early, more or less, right now. Okay, so it's now 4 a.m. and it's time for him to look out to see if there's any signs of the morning glory. So, okay, 3:50 a.m. I crept out of my room, doing my best to make as little noise as possible. And there's no sign of anyone in the dining hall. I made my way towards the front door.
葵くん。
Hello, Akari. And Akari's waiting for me at the bottom of the stairs. Wait, I thought Iowa's room is on the first floor, so it's next to Kotori's room, or close to it. And keeping our voices low, we stepped outside together. So even in the middle of summer, it is pitch black out this early in the morning. And then I look up at the sky. So turning around, I surveyed it from every angle I could. So it doesn't look like it'll be today. So it's just a normal morning. Akari, let's say, scans the skies too, though she is less sure of what we are supposed to be looking for. So the morning glory clouds start to form before it gets light. So we had to be up while it is still dark to try to spot any indications of one showing up. So I don't see anything promising, but we should watch for a while longer just in case. So maybe it might be a false alarm at first. So we have to stick it out until dawn at least. And while I continue my observations, Akari spoke up from her position at my side.
ごめんなさい。
And once again, the I'm sorry.
電話をくれていたのに出なくて。
So no replies to my texts either. Yes, I know, for Akari. She looks up at me with tears in her eyes.
怖かったの。あなたとお話しするのが振られてしまうんじゃないかって思って。
So do I look mad enough to do that? Akari searches my face for any clues to my feelings, gazing into my eyes pleadingly. So no word from you, not knowing if you are okay. All that is pretty hard on me, you know. And then she tenses up at my complaint.
ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい。本当に反省してます。だからお願い。別れるなんて言わないで。
So I know I made a mistake, but please don't hate me for it and dump me. So what to do? She grasps onto my arm like I'm the last stable thing in the world. Okay, so even I'm not this cruel. So, okay, I'm kidding. Of course, I'm not going to dump you. I thought that might break the tension and get a laugh out of her, but I'm wrong. Well, don't tease me. Instead, she gave me a death glare fierce enough to freeze the blood in my veins. So, sorry, it's just a joke.
冗談で言っていいことと悪いことがあります。
So at least understand my feelings more.
私があなたのことをどれだけ好きかまだ分かってないんですか。それなのにそんなこと言われたら
And those were tears again. Akari is seriously upset now. I'm sorry. Well, I took it too far. I truly deeply regret it. So please don't cry.
バカバカもう知らない。
And after a barrage of swift punches to my arm, she storms away. Akari?
知りません。
Well, I really just put my foot it in this time. And what can I do to get you to forgive me? Okay, so I guess this answer is left for the next episode. So we'll see what we will do to make up all those jokes. So even though it is a joke, the fact that Akari is full of emotions and she feels sorry for it. And it's best not to push it too far, because it just feels like, oh, so you're making fun of me and you don't really understand how much sadness I had for you given all the bad things I've done. So I ignore all your phone calls and your texts. So anyways, also, we'll see how successful they are with the rubber core launch. So that was seen in Kotori's route from the original If I Had Wings, and in contrast to Kotori's route, they have plenty of time to calculate and see how successful the rubber core launch can be versus a last minute rush. If you remember, Amane and Yoru, they spent so much time just doing quick calculations and it took up so much paper, but they were able to come up with something at the end, and they didn't really test it, so it was more like giving it a one shot chance. So anyways, with that in mind, let's see how this goes next time.